Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, we are going to speak about candlestick patterns. I'm going to take you through 5 very important candlestick patterns today. Many of you were asking me that, hey Akshat, how did you identify a trade in JP Power and Bosch? These stocks have given like gain of 20% in literally like 3 days when you recommended it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you that one of the key parameters were these candlestick patterns in that analysis. Super important video, therefore, please stay tuned till the very end. Extremely important that don't watch this video half. You will not understand anything. So please watch the video till the very end. Only then it will make sense. I will simplify this video for you. I will help you understand all the key points that are related to these 5 key technical parameters that I'm going to speak about. Okay, so let's get started. But one very quick disclaimer before I start discussing candlestick patterns is that these days, if you go and watch YouTube videos or if you read few of the books, not all, they tell you very weird stuff about candlestick patterns, right? They will say that, you know what, if you use like MACD plus Doji technique, you will make like 20% returns. False. Okay, that doesn't happen. Similarly, if you use like simple moving averages plus if you use like hammer, right, you will make like 40% returns. False. This will not happen because what you need to understand is that the stock market, it has changed immensely in the last few years. Previously, what used to happen was that if you are very good in technical analysis, you could make a lot of money in the stock market. But now it is very easy for people to get access to this technical data. Therefore, there is no edge left in terms of technical analysis. This is my viewpoint and this is what I have figured out by back testing a lot of things. Now you would say, Akshat, then why are you making a video on technical analysis? Because I still feel that technical analysis is very important, but it is one of the key data points, right? So there is technical analysis that goes into stock market analysis, right? There is fundamental analysis, there is business analysis, there is wide variety of analysis to get that output. If you just depend on one single indicator that, hey, okay, I have seen like hammer, now the stock is going to move up by 40%, let me go and buy and pour all my money, you will lose insane amount of money. Please don't do it. Please don't believe those YouTube tutorials because they are showing you exceptional cases. This is a very important disclaimer, therefore I wrote it down and explained it to you. I hope you understand the sentiments. Okay, with that said, let's get the discussion going about candlestick patterns. So let me first and foremost tell you what candlesticks are, right? So when you go on your Zerodha account or when you go to any of your trading account, this is what you will see. You will see a list of stocks. If you click on the chart, for example, if I click on the chart of, let's say, JP Power, right? Then this is the candlesticks, these red green things that I see, these are candlesticks. Now very quick, let me explain you the technical setup here also. That see, these are duration. It could be 1 minute technical candle also, for example, like this. And if I change it to, let's say, 1 day, then I can change it. Similarly, if I want to change it to 1 week or 1 month, I can do it. So let us do by using the example of weekly or daily candles. This is when the technical analysis is more powerful for the patterns that I'm going to discuss today. Okay. So this is one. Second thing is that when you go on this display, you get different chart styles. For example, this is candle, this is bar, this is colored bar, this is line, this is vertex line, all that stuff, right? So you can use anything, but candles are the most powerful thing for doing technical analysis. Okay. Now you would say, okay, can you explain very quickly what this green candle means, right? So you see this green candle, what does this mean? Okay. So let me change the color and let me give you an example. Okay. This is a green candle and it looks something like this. Okay. Now let me quickly change the color. Now, what does this indicate? This literally indicates this entire green candle. It indicates all the trades that have been taken in a day on JP Power across India. This is what this green candle indicates. Okay. Now this green candle has 2 parts. The first part is a body. Okay. And the second part is a wick, right? So wick or wick V, you can call it wick V or a hair or whatever you want to call it. This is a string, right? So I call it string. Now, essentially, what does this green thing indicate? It indicates a few key things, right? The first key thing is that because it's a green candle, it means that the stock price for the day has gone up, right? Now, how is up? Because this was the closing price, right? Closing price. And this was the opening price, right? This body indicates what? It indicates the opening and closing price. And what does wick indicates? Wick indicates the high during the day and the low during the day. Okay. Now, let me illustrate this point by giving you an example so that this concept sticks. Okay. So, let's say that, this stock opened at 5 rupees, right? and then it closed at 6 rupees. Now what do I mean by open at 5 rupees and closed at 6 rupees? So open means that right at 9:30 the stock price starts moving on the exchange. In fact, starts moving at 9:15 only, but in fact it starts moving even before that, but let's not get into that. Let's assume that the stock opens at 9:30 and it was trading at 5 rupees. So that is the opening price. What is the closing price? Closing means that when the bell rings for NSE and BSE, which is at approximately 3:30 p.m. So the stock price at that point was 6 rupees. Now you will say, okay, Akshat, what is this wick thing that you were talking about? Okay, so let me explain that. So let's assume that at 2:30, hypothetically, the stock price was high. That stock price was trading at 7 rupees. That was the high that the stock made during the day. So that was at 7 rupees. So this is the upper part of the wick. What is the lower part of the wick? So it could mean that during the day. Why day? Because we are looking at a daily candle. That during the day, the stock price was trading at 4 rupees, right? At some point, like 11:30 a.m., it was trading at 4 rupees. So this is what the nomenclature of the entire body is. Now, if you're seeing a green candle, it means that the stock price closed at a higher level compared to the opening price. If you see a red candle, right? If you see a red candle, so let me draw a red candle. If you see the stock price opened at, let's say, 6 rupees and closed at 5 rupees, what does this mean? It means that the stock lost money, right? So therefore the candle is represented as a red candle. So I hope all of us get this point. So let's move on to how you can actually apply these candles to make money in the stock market. So for that, let me start explaining you certain strategies, and the first strategy that we are going to talk about. Now for that, let me start explaining you certain concepts around candlestick patterns. Now these candlestick patterns can be of different variants. For example, you will see like this candle, right? For example, this particular candle, it looks like a very strong green candle with a very small wick, right? I'll repeat this again. It has a very long body and a very small wick. Now, what is this pattern called? This is called as Marabozu candle. Okay. So Marabozu candle simply means that, hey, it can be a strong red candle also. It can be a strong green candle also, right? So I will put some formats here. This is what Marabozu looks like. It can be of different forms and shapes. Essentially, what needs to happen is that one of the wicks should be missing. Right here, for example, on this, we just have one wick. Here we have just one wick. Or both the wicks should be missing, right? It could be a candle like this, or it could be a candle like this. Now, in technical terms, it can be an open Marabozu, it can be a closed Marabozu, this, that. We don't need to remember all that stuff. We need to remember practical stuff, which helps us make money. But just for theory, look at this picture. The gray means red, right? Because this was a black and white picture. So gray here means red, white means green, right? So I hope this point is clear what Marabozu looks like. Now, on this chart pattern, can you identify a few Marabozu candles? Okay. So you can say, Akshat, okay, this looks like Marabozu. This looks like Marabozu. Okay, is this Marabozu? No, it is not Marabozu because it has both wick here and here, right? Now, similarly, if you look along, you will find multiple of these Marabozu candles. Okay, so now comes the question that, okay, what does Marabozu do? What is the utility of it? So many people will tell you that, hey, Marabozu indicates a trend reversal. So trend reversal means that the stock price was moving up. For example, this stock price is moving up. Now, if you find a Marabozu, does it mean that the stock price will definitely come down? No. For example, here is a Marabozu, right? But the stock price came down, right? So we found Marabozu here, right? Marabozu here. Now the stock price came down. Now, does this not indicate trend reversal? So let me quickly explain what trend reversal is, and then I'll come back to this point. So trend reversal means that the stock price is moving up. You find Marabozu and the stock price goes down, right? So this is called as trend reversal, that the stock was moving up. Now it is going down after finding a certain pattern, right? So that is what trend reversal means. It could also mean that the stock was moving down. Then it found Marabozu and it went up. So this is called as trend reversal, that the stock was moving up, then it went down. Or the stock was moving down, then it found certain pattern and it started moving up. So I hope this point is clear what trend reversal is. Okay. So essentially, now coming back to the topic, that what is it that Marabozu indicates? So you can call it Marabozu or Marabozu. It doesn't matter. Honestly, pronunciation here. What is important is to make money out of it. Okay. So essentially, Marabozu does not indicate, right? It does not indicate trend reversal. So if people are telling you that, hey, the moment you find Marabozu candle, take a trade on it, please don't do it, incorrect. What Marabozu does indicate is that it indicates the strength or weakness of a stock. Okay. For example, here there is a bullish Marabozu. Bullish means that bulls actually can put their seeing into you and throw you in the air, right? So it means that the stock price is going to move up ideally because this stock is gaining strength. Why it is gaining strength? Because you can then go and answer someone, because I found a Marabozu candle, therefore it shows that the stock is gaining strength, so it is likely to move up. It might or might not happen. This is not a trend reversal, right? Not a trend reversal indicator, but it indicates that the stock is gaining strength, right? Plain and simple. Now, will it definitely move up? Will it definitely fall down? All those things depend on multiple other things, right? Recall the initial thing that I was showing, right? This is market, right? Inputs, you need to put in multiple inputs and then you reach the output, right? And this is super complex to explain on one video. I am just explaining you one part here, right? So essentially, JP Power today has gained a lot of strength. It is likely to move up, right? This is what this isolated technical indicator tells us. Now, am I telling you go and take this trade? No, absolutely not. This is as per your understanding. I am not discussing JP Power today, okay? But I am simply trying to help you understand what Marabozu means versus not. Number one, it does not mean that trend reversal is definitely happening. Please do not take trades based on Marabozu strategy. Number two, it definitely does indicate that the stock is gaining strength. This is an input for you, right? Now you need to match that input with bunch of other different things. What those things are, we will discuss that on subsequent videos. But do understand that, hey, by using and seeing Marabozu, I can at least understand that, okay, this stock is gaining strength, okay? Now, what is bearish Marabozu? So, bearish Marabozu looks something like what? So, bearish Marabozu looks something like this. This is a very strong Marabozu, right? It has no wick. It has a very strong red body. But did the stock weaken after this? No, in fact, it gained strength, right? So, it does not necessarily means. So, therefore, this proves my theory that it's not as if that just look at Marabozu and start taking trades. Please don't do that. Very important point. Okay. Now, very important, and this is like a slightly advanced point around psychology of Marabozu, right? So, what does Marabozu actually indicates? Right? For example, if we take a look at this recent green candle, what is it that it indicates, right? It simply indicates this, right? That today we are looking at this Marabozu candle, and essentially here, if we plot this, essentially what is happening here, right? That the stock was trading at approximately 4.4 and it ended at 5.2 in just a day, right? So approximately 20% gain, right? So this is what this Marabozu looks like, that hey, 4.4 ended the day with 5.2. What was the open price? The opening price was 4.5 and the closing price was 5.2. So this is what this particular candle indicates. Now, why is it that Marabozu indicates that the stock is gaining strength, right? It indicates this because, see, this is what is happening in the market. At 4.5, there were very few people who sold their stock for it to fall to 4.4. After that, everyone started buying this stock. And literally, there were very few sellers in the market for this particular stock, and it ended the day at 5.2, right? So essentially, it means that, hey, if you look at this particular day's performance, here, there were majority buyers compared to sellers, right? And the stock price, even during the day, did not fall much. So this indicates that there is something good that is happening in JP Power, and therefore the stock is gaining strength, right? That is what all the indication for Marabozu candle means. That's it. That's all you need to remember about Marabozu. It simply indicates strength. Please do not consider it as a trend reversal. Very, very important point. Okay, so the second key pattern is called as Doji pattern, right? So Doji pattern or Doji candles. Now these are something like this, right? These are cross, right? And it can be a red cross also. It can be a green cross also. So it can look something like. So let's identify very quickly on this chart itself where we can find Doji. So this is a Doji. This is a Doji. Where else can you see Doji? This is a Doji, this is a Doji. Okay. So what is it that Doji indicates? Number one, it indicates indecisiveness in the market, right? So indecisiveness means, for example, let us pick a red Doji, right? So for example, it simply means that the stock price opened well. This is the body, right? This particular thing is the body. So it opened at, let's say, hypothetically 5 rupees, right? And when the day ended, it closed also at 5 rupees. So therefore, the body is very thin, right? During the day, you had buyers also, which moved the price upwards, and there were sellers also, which moved the price downwards. So there is a lot of indecision. For example, if you compare this candlestick pattern to Marabozu candle, there were hardly any sellers of this stock. Only people were buying and buying and buying this JP Power stock today, right? This is what this green candle tells us. But if you look at Doji candle, any Doji candle, it simply tells us that, you know what, the stock barely moved, right? Therefore, the body is very, very thin. There were both buyers in the market. There were both sellers in the market. So usually there will be a very long wick associated with Doji and the body will be very small. On the flip side, Marabozu will have a very big body, right? So it indicates strength. Doji indicates indecisiveness. It does not tell us anything, so to say, okay? But then you will say, Akshat, why did you teach Doji pattern? It looks like pretty pointless to me, okay? So there is a reason why I did this, because usually, now this is not a general rule, but usually when you find these Dojis in a bunch, right? For example, here you are finding 3 Dojis. It means that the likelihood scenario, at least in the short term, will be that this particular stock will move sideways. Sideways means that this is an uptrend, right? This is a downtrend. This is a sideways trend. This is called as bull, right? This is called as bear. And this is called as bunny, right? These are somewhat the technical definitions, okay? So you can find 3 Dojis here in a bunch and the market has rarely moved, right? For a very, very long period of time. And please remember, this is a weekly candle, not a daily candle. So this was a long period of time in which this stock traded in this zone, right? This also becomes like a good support or resistance of the stock, which we will talk about subsequently on this video. If there is enough traction for this video, then I will make a part 2 of this video also with slightly more advanced techniques and we will talk about support and resistance there. But I hope you get the point that what is the utility of Marabozu, what is the utility of Doji. Let's move on to the third thing, which is called as hammer. Okay, so hammer. Okay, what is hammer? Hammer. Okay, so hammer indicates a trend reversal. Okay. Okay, what is a trend reversal? I just explained it, that if the stock is moving up like this, and if you find a hammer, right? So hammer looks something like this. It falls down. On the flip side, if the stock is moving down, if it finds a hammer, then it moves up, right? So this is what a hammer means and this is the utility of a hammer. Right? So let us understand this by looking at this chart. Now here you have a hammer. So the stock price is moving down. This is the hammer. It found a hammer and it started moving up, right? So this is a trend reversal thing and hammer is an indicator of a trend reversal, right? Super important. Now there can be circumstances that you will find a hammer in the uptrend, that the stock is moving up, then you will find a hammer and the stock will fall, right? This again will indicate a trend reversal. Now this particular pattern where the stock is moving up, you find a hammer and it falls, this is called as hanging man, right? Hanging man, right? So you can bifurcate it as a separate pattern or you can call it hammer itself. So this becomes our fourth pattern that we are speaking about. Hammer and hanging man. Okay, can you identify a hanging man here? Okay, so this is a hanging man that the stock was moving upwards and it found a hammer and the stock price fell. So this indicates a trend reversal, very clear trend reversal. You can try and identify it on other stocks also. So this is a very powerful indicator and you should learn more about it. But just to help you consolidate this information in a very clear manner, hammer, you find it where? You find it on a downturn, right? That the stock is falling. You find a hammer, it moves up. Where? This is an example. Similarly, where do you find a hanging man? When the stock is moving up, you find a hammer and it falls like this, right? So I hope this difference is clear. It takes a lot of time to understand this difference. I am trying to explain it to you in very super simple, easy to understand, crisp language. Now, fifth and final pattern is called as shooting star, right? Shooting star, right? So shooting star or inverted hammer, right? Inverted hammer, right? So here is a picture for you. This is what a shooting star or an inverted hammer looks like. Can you identify an inverted hammer somewhere here? Okay. So this is what an inverted hammer looks like. What does this indicate? This is again an indication of trend reversal. If you find it on an upswing, so the stock was moving up, it found another inverted hammer and it came down. So essentially these type of inverted hammers are very useful on an uptrend, right? Uptrend. So please keep this in mind. Very, very important pattern again. Now many of you might have a question that, hey Akshat, does these parameters always work? No. Let me show you another example. For example, you are seeing an inverted hammer here, right? On an upswing. So the stock was moving up. Technically, the stock should have gone down. But did it go down? No. In the short term, it still kept on going up. So it's not necessary that these patterns will work. But again, showing you and taking you back to that image that I had shown you earlier, all these are input parameters. Just individually understanding this will not help. I am just helping you understand A, B, C, D, E. Okay. When you understand this, then only I can teach you how to build sentences and how to form paragraphs out of it. So please be clear about these 5 very important patterns. So let me quickly recap which 5 patterns did we understand today. So the first was Marabozu, right? What does Marabozu indicate? It indicates strength, that the stock is gaining strength or the stock is losing strength, right? Very, very important. Second was Doji, right? How does Doji look like? It looks like this, right? Or it can be a green candle also. What does Marabozu look like? It looks like a very strong body with very, very small or no wicks. Third, we studied hammer, right? Hammer, right? What does a hammer look like? It looks like a hammer, right? You can find it on an uptrend, right? That you find a hammer, it indicates trend reversal, it goes down, right? Or you can find it on a downtrend, right? That you find a hammer and the trend reverses. This is also called as what? I will leave a blank here because I would want you to fill out the answer. Okay, what does this indicate, right? And fifth and final, what did we study? We studied shooting star, right? Shooting star. Now what does a shooting star look like? It looks like an inverted hammer, right? Again, it indicates a trend reversal. So I hope you enjoyed studying these basic candlestick patterns with me. I will come up with part 2 if there is enough interest in part 1. If you have any doubts, any concerns, please drop it in the comment section. I will personally go through them and will try to reply to as many as I possibly can. Thank you so much and I will see you the next time.